Hello everyone, and welcome to the Killer Whale Ventures Livestream. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I know I sure did, and thank you for excusing the absence. You probably won't see me much around the holidays like Christmas and things like that. I just really enjoy spending time with my family, and I hope you all had a wonderful holiday as well here. So today we've got a lot to go over. The crypto space has been a little stalled, but that's okay because we have been firmly remaining in that bullish control zone that I've been talking about over the last couple of weeks here. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into the analysis. I got some really cool stuff going on in the futures space at the moment, with a couple of our algos getting really well refined, and just they'll be available for public use. And I'd love to just have a continuous conversation going on about the future stuff, because that's where I'm kind of hyper focused at the moment, is getting these futures algorithms to a point where we can use them together and talk about them as a community. So again, if you would like access to any of the TradingView scripts in the links below, just go ahead and send your TradingView username to our Discord support, and I will get you access to everything that we're looking at here on stream. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. So let's start with Bitcoin, as we usually do. Bitcoin is remaining in the bullish control zone for now. This is exactly what we've been wanting to see, staying above that $81,000 level, because if we do drop below that, it would be the first time in over 2 years that we've gone into bearish control. A lot of analysts are calling for this most recent spike to kind of be our lowest point, and that would make sense. As you can see, we've had our lowest low here and lowest low here, and then now a new higher low. So if we do want to remain bullish, if the market does have a bullish outlook going into 2026, it's going to have to remain above this $81,000 level. As you can see, the last time we had a MA bands crossover to be a bearish MA bands crossover was back here on October 20th. And ever since then, we have been in a downward stretch, but we are still in bullish control. I know it's going down, but it's also going up, right? That's not confusing at all, but that's just where we're at the moment. And for any newcomers here, we have been in bullish control since the beginning of 2023. So back over here, January of 2023, that was really the first time after that long bearish period we had in 2022 that we flipped over to bullish, and we have been firmly in this bullish control zone. See this green cloud here ever since. And the first time we've actually come to test this was just recently, back in November. So overall bullish until proven otherwise. What we would like to see is a nice flip of these moving averages somewhere in the next 2 to 4 weeks, something along those lines. Either that or just continuing to stay sideways, because sideways action would just be giving us more conviction that the market has reached a low point. It's not until we drop below this $81,000 level and see some solid candle closes that we'll be singing the tune of we are in a bearish consolidative period. So let's go ahead and look at the seasonals here. So as we've been talking about, that 100% plus year over year that we've been seeing from Bitcoin, we just haven't really seen that this year. This year we've seen to date Bitcoin having about -6, -7% year to date. So about even from where we started in 2024. So, we're just kind of consolidating. Bitcoin did put in 2 new all-time highs this year. So we're just going to have to see if we stay above that $81,000 level. On the daily, we have the oscillators starting to flip over to the bullish and to the buy side, where the sentiment summary is still in sell, and then our moving averages are in a strong sell at the moment on the daily. Weekly, we have neutral on the oscillators, sell and selling on the sentiment summary, and then selling on the moving averages. And then on the monthly, we're looking at pretty much neutral all the way across. So as far as the technicals go, that's kind of where we're sitting at the moment. Our moving averages, some of them pointing to the sell side, some of them pointing to the buy side. So a bit of a mixed bag as far as the technicals go on Bitcoin. So let's look at it on a technical basis now, because we did have, let me turn the long-term algorithm off. Again, if you would like access to any of these long-term accumulation algorithms, all of our TradingView algorithms are completely customizable. I have something for you at the end here that we can talk about, some updates going on our Cryptohopper products. But yeah, let's just talk about Bitcoin here on the technical side. We did have that bear pole bear flag that we broke out of back in the 13th of December, so about 2 weeks ago. And we did go down to target number 1 pretty quickly, but we still have yet to reach target number 2 on a technical basis for this bear pole bear flag. Now, mind you, I am not shorting Bitcoin here. I am not shorting Bitcoin because I'm a long-term accumulator, and this just isn't a pattern that's looking strong enough for me to actually take a convictive move to the downside, nor do I really do short plays on some of my like long-term assets like Bitcoin, right? If I was going to play it with leverage or something, it would have to be a much different type of move. Maybe like, something like off of, not even this triple top gave us enough conviction to make like a downside move. But what we're doing here is we're measuring the targets of where we could possibly go, right? So we really want to stay above this third target here, this $81,000 level, because we might be in a little bit of trouble if we do start to break that level. It could be a pretty quick ride down to this $65,000 level. And that would actually make sense with our previous breakout that we had on Bitcoin back in 2024. So October 2024, the historic breakout that took us to 100K. That would be a very good level of like support if we do go down to that area. You can see we've had a lot of interaction in this $60,000 to $70,000 level before, even going so far as back to our previous all-time highs back here. So yeah, on a technical basis, I'm not shorting this, but I am measuring the targets to the downside. So we had this false breakout where we had hit target number 1 here, took 50% of our trade off the table and came back down. So with a 1.27 risk to reward, barely scraped a profit off of this trade. And ever since, we've just been kind of like waiting for another, another technical analysis play to the upside. And so, yeah, we're basically just bullish until proven otherwise at the moment. And if I turn our long-term algorithm back on, you can see this green cloud is our bullish control zone. So still bullish, but we really want to stay above that $81,000 level. In that case, to just continue marching towards higher targets. Okay, Bitcoin, very good. Now, we have been talking about Ethereum here as we are in a play at the moment. So we took this entry off of this retest down here back on December 6th. So that one went really quickly to its first target up here on Ethereum, where we hit our first target. So we took 50% of our trade off the table. This is a 2-to-1 risk to reward. So even if we come back down and get stopped out, we will make money on this Ethereum play, this technical style of play. But we have not gotten stopped out yet. We got pretty close, coming all the way down to 27.78, where our stop loss is around that $2,700 level. We did put in a third higher low at the moment. So we have one low, a higher low, and a third higher low. So if Bitcoin wants to take a move to the upside and the market starts to get bullish going into 2026, I'm fully expecting that we could come up and hit target number 2 and target number 3. And again, just to reiterate, we always take 50% of our trade off at target number 1. We take, either 20 or 30% of our trade off of target number 2. And when we achieve target number 2, we're going to move that stop loss up to break even. So 50% off at 1, stop loss to break even at 2. And then our third target is just a bonus, because that one, even if we do hit target 2 and come back down, we're going to break even on that portion of the play. Again, what we need to see here is this descending channel that we broke out of, that we are making this play off of. This is the type of catalyst that could take us back up to other higher levels, like this $4,000 psychological level, or even back up to like previous all-time high and back to our new all-time high, but we just need to take this one step at a time because we are forming this larger descending broadening formation. And if we do come back up and start testing these levels, that'll give us some conviction for much, much higher targets. But we can't really make any solid speculation on that until we have at least some sort of break higher and reach the targets that we're aiming at on this descending channel breakout play. Okay, Ethereum, that's good. Let's go ahead and move on here. Binance Coin. So Binance Coin, as we've been talking about, had an absolute rocket ship move up to new all-time highs in October. And ever since then, we've been forming this descending wedge. Now, the angle of this descending wedge is heavily pointing to the downside. So that gave us conviction to take a lower risk entry upon the breakout and retest. Now, as discussed previously, I had missed this retest, so I actually entered this play right over here where this circle is. So you can see we're still hanging on to these, these levels where we're at with our stop loss being at 787. So, and basically we're just in no man's land at the moment, waiting to go and achieve target number 1. If we go up to target number 1, that's a 1.38 risk to reward. So no matter what, when we take 50% of our trade off the table here, we will be making money on this play if we come back down and hit our stop loss. Right now, we could totally just, get rejected if things decide to continue to stay bearish. But this is the place where I felt comfortable taking a lower risk entry because, we had come through this entire consolidated move and we made a retrace of made a full retrace of about 42% from all-time high. So for me, that gave me the conviction that I need to enter a play like this. And even if we come and get stopped out, it was a low risk area that, we've had plays like this play out many, many times before, and we will continue to talk about on this channel. If anybody is wanting me to review an asset, just go ahead and drop it in our YouTube live chat, and I will make sure and get it addressed if we have time on the stream here. But yes, we're looking to do asset reviews, indicator reviews. So if there's any indicators in TradingView that you just want to review, either from this editor's picks or top section, or if you want me to review one of our algorithms, right? Like what we're looking at here, you can have access to all of these completely for free while we're getting this stream off the ground. All you have to do is drop your TradingView username into our Discord support and go ahead and give this video a like and the channel a subscribe. That would really help us out. And also, I will really help you out by helping you to understand how the entry strategy, additional entry, exit strategies, take profit strategies, trailing stop loss, all of this stuff with like times-based reducing, steps-based reducing. All of this is very, high-level advanced stuff, but it's not hard to understand once you get the grasp of it. And I want to help you understand how to do that. So you can automate your signals that you're looking at here in the crypto space through Cryptohopper, which I have links in the description below. We're one of their top marketplace sellers. I've been with them for about 7 or 8 years now, in which I'll also get to one of the sales that we're going to be running at the beginning of the year for some of our Cryptohopper products as well. But you can automate these things straight to your exchange accounts, either using Cryptohopper, or we have a number of ways that you can do that. Either Traders Post, Cryptohopper, there's a lot of ways that you can automate this stuff. This is our long-term Binance algorithm. As you can see, this one's done really well with an 83% profitability. 1,148 out of 1,371 trades are successful over the course of time. And you can see the last major selling event that we had was back in September, where we were getting up to those all-time high levels. The algorithm decided to take some off of the table right here. And you can see that was based upon our ATR crossing that 40 level. So currently we have it set to taking 20% off the table if we cross that 40 level. I would imagine if we do get back up to these levels, we could possibly see that ATR 40 level again, where we might be taking some off the table. But at the moment, we are just kind of hanging out in this holding pattern. We have our low risk play that we're in right now, and we just want to stay above that 787 level in order to keep this trade alive. All right, let's go ahead and move on to XRP here. Now, before I get into the algo, which has just been accumulating for the past couple of months here, but let's go ahead and look at this on a technical basis. So I have a speculative trade laid out here. As you can see, we've been in this descending channel since October 9th. We had that giant capitulation move on October 10th. But ever since then, we've been in this descending channel, and I am expecting at some point we're going to break out of this descending channel. So as we continue to move down it, I've just been moving the targets further and further down. But what we really want to see here is we just put in a lower low, right? So what we want to see is we want to put in a higher low and continuous consecutive higher lows. So if this is going to be our lowest low, we're going to want to see slightly higher lows from this point forward. And then we're going to want to see a really nice break out of this descending channel. It's called a jump the creek break and retest. So we'll want to see a solid break with a daily candle close above this trend line with a retest back on this trend line. We haven't been getting a lot of these retests. Sometimes things have just been breaking out. Like I showed you just a minute ago on Binance, we did get a nice retest. But, you know, basically how I've been trying to enter these plays on both stocks and crypto is enter some upon the daily candle close breakout, but then add to the position upon a successful retest. So that way we don't miss the play, because on like Google and things like that, I've missed some of those breakout moves waiting for the retest that just never came. So yeah, we can talk about that. If you have questions about that kind of stuff, just let me know. I love technical analysis and I love sharing my knowledge, so we can talk about whatever you guys want. I want this to be a community-driven stream, so any assets or indicators that you guys are interested in, just go ahead and let me know, and we'll review it here on stream. So as you can see, our XRP algorithm has been 100% successful in its lifetime. It's had 234 out of 234 successful trades. And how is that possible? Well, it just doesn't sell that often, right? So if we look back over here, the last time it had a selling activity occur was back in December of 2024, when we came up to that first all-time high level of this major run around that $2.75 level. So that's the last time it sent a sell signal. And ever since then, it's just been accumulating. So each one of these blue triangles is just a buy order that's going to an accumulation account, right? So just quietly accumulating through the course of this whole year. As you can see over on the right-hand side of the screen here, year to date, XRP is actually down about 10.5%. So the crypto space overall is down on the year, but it is pretty amazing because we have done really amazing, consolidative movements, as well as hitting new all-time highs. So currently from the most recent high, we're about 50% off of our most recent high. So these are areas of value, and I am expecting to see some kind of move in the very near future here that would lead us to have a breakout of this descending channel for XRP. Let's go ahead and move on to Solana. So Solana, very, very similar situation where we're in this descending channel, and we have been consolidating since 18th of September is when this channel started. So we've been consolidating for several months, and we've also been in this bearish control zone. So what we're looking at here is this purple box is our zone of confluence. And you can see our zone of confluence has interacted with the price action many times before, where we've found support in the most recent days at our zone of confluence. We also found support there in June of 2025. We found support there in April of 2025, going back to September of 2024, August 2024, July 2024, April 2024. So this zone has been acting as support for almost 2 years now, even maybe a little over 2 years. So what we're looking at here is I just need to see some kind of move on Solana here that would give us the conviction to enter a low risk trade. And maybe what that looks like here in the near term is we may need to move our targets down a little bit just to match up with the area of where we could speculate a breakout to be. So let me just go ahead and polish this up here while I'm on stream with you guys. And boom. Okay, so we polished this up a little bit, but basically what I'm looking at here, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this one for now. What I'm looking at here is I really need to see a breakout somewhere about where this orange circle is. And that would give me the conviction I need to enter a low risk trade setup. So if we can have a breakout of this, descending channel sometime in the next few weeks to a month, maybe even a little bit more than that, what we're going to do is we're going to wait for a full daily candle close above the upper trend line. And then we're going to enter a small portion. And then if there is a retest, wherever that retest comes along this descending trend line, then we're going to enter the rest of our position. This one's a little weird because the risk to reward is 1.12 to 1. So what that would mean is when we take 50% of our trade off the table at target number 1, if it comes back down to stop loss, we're not really going to make anything on this trade, right? A very small amount that we'll make on this trade, but it is giving us the conviction that we need to take a low risk setup, right? And even now I could probably move these stop losses a little bit because we don't really have any levels that are lower than where we are now, except for going back to the April of 2025. So, just to size this up a little bit, these stop losses might be a little bit tighter than what I had originally measured them, because now we're getting out of that area where we have something to measure the stop losses below. So probably going to put them about there, but really I'm going to have to see what the conviction is when we do start to break out of this move. And I think that's about it on Solana. Solana's had a really tough year, down 34% year to date. So we really need to see something out of Solana. I have completely stopped accumulating this asset back in September 2025 when it sent this sell signal right here. I didn't take this sell signal, but I did stop accumulating because I've been accumulating Solana for a very, very long time, and it has not been performing very well the last year or so. Well, I mean, really since everything started capitulating back in September, we've just had an insane amount of downside on Solana. Let's see. Yeah, 53% capitulation, which isn't out of the norm for this asset. As you can see, we had another capitulation move at the beginning of 2025, but we haven't really reached all-time high levels in a very, very long time. This thing has not been putting in higher highs consistently like we've seen with BNB and Ethereum and Bitcoin and XRP. So Solana, I'm not really accumulating this one as much anymore. Once we go back into bullish control and break out of this red cloud that you see here, I will begin accumulating again. But just while we're in this down stretch, I'm not really accumulating through this area. I'm just waiting on some sort of technical analysis play to come to fruition. But other than that, we're going to play it one day at a time, looking for some kind of breakout of this descending channel at some point. Let's go ahead and move on to TRX. TRX, one of my hands down favorite assets to accumulate. The reason being is my long-term accumulation algorithm, again, which you can have complete access to if you just drop your TradingView username into our Discord support. So one reason this is my favorite, which I've discussed on the stream here before, is this thing has never been in bearish control, right? So what do I mean by that? You can see this green cloud that's been going back all the way to where the data started on this, which was 2018. Ever since 2018, this thing has never gone into bearish control. So been accumulating for a very long time. And as you can see, this algorithm, the last selling activity it had was in 2024. But this has had 100% successful trades in its lifetime. It is a long-term algorithm, and you do have to hold for a substantial amount of time. But anytime you see one of these big runs, if you've been accumulating this asset, it's hitting 100% profitable for the last 7-8 years, right? So you know, just, things to think about here. On a technical level, let me just go ahead and turn off our long-term accumulation. We're just going to look at this on a purely technical basis. So on a purely technical basis, what we're looking at here is TRX, like Solana, like XRP, has been in a descending channel since about August this year. So since August this year, we've just been forming, 1, 2, 3 touches on the top, 1, 2 touches on the bottom. That confirms our descending channel here. And just over the last few days, I'll turn the algo back on in a second. It's been doing a lot of purchasing in this area. So I'm just expecting that this thing's going to, and at some point in the near future, going to come back up, test this descending trend line. And if we get a solid break with a daily candle close, I will be entering this exact trade that we're looking at right here, whether it's where we are now or if I have to pull these targets down a little bit lower. The cool thing about descending channels is since I've already measured the targets, all I have to do is line that up with where the breakout happens eventually, right? So we did put in this double bottom kind of formation on TRX here. So, we put in a double bottom. We've got a lower high, a higher low, double bottom, higher low. And eventually we will come up to test this trend line. And all I need to see to enter this play is a solid daily candle close above our descending trend line here. So if I see that, I'm going to be entering this low risk play. And you can see TRX from its most recent high has had about a 27% correction. So its correction has been much, here we go. Actually, we just entered a trade. So let's go ahead and take a look now that we got our futures trade here. I do want to talk about this algorithm a little bit because if we look at the previous day, we had a lot of martingaling going on here over the holiday here. So we basically had one loss and then a second day of loss where we doubled up to 2 contracts, and then a third day of loss where we doubled up to 4 contracts. And we had on our 4th day, we doubled up to 8 contracts and smacked this thing for a $2,000 trade, right? That's the whole point of this, is it only is going to trade once or twice or 3 times per day, depending on what's going on. But if it nails a trade, it's just going to stop trading for that day. I also have it to where if you look at this, the top here, if it has a loss of over $500 on one of its trades, it also stops trading for the day. Now, I do want to say that this algorithm has been a little bit tricky. I'm using a different algo provider called Algo Pro Evo X. It's like their new algo that they just released recently. And I've been having some problems with it, getting it to fire trades when it says it's going to fire trades. So what I mean by that is sometimes it'll say that it fires a trade, but the signal didn't actually go through. So I'm just checking right now. Yeah, the signal actually went through. So on this first version I have, it hasn't been firing totally accurately for some reason. But you can also see it's had a lot more down days than the second version. So I currently have everything on this second version here. Let me just go ahead and log in here real quick. Okay. Let's go to the one, where are we at here? Here we go. So yeah, currently down at the moment, but that's okay because, like I was saying, I had everything running, this account was running on the first version of this strategy, but since it has been misfiring, I've moved everything over to this second version of the strategy. And that is a bit unfortunate because this, trade that would have smacked 2,000 in my 150K account that I started when I started this stream, it didn't go to this 150K account. So I've now moved it over to the second version of the strategy because this thing has not misfired at all. And again, if you guys are interested in this, you'll have to get Algo Pro. You can go find them, just type in Algo Pro in Google, and you can get access to this algorithm as well. And then we could talk about it, right? We could talk shop all day long because I love how this algorithm is laid out, right? Yeah, it basically uses confluence signals. So I have it set up to using only one signal for confluence of either the fear and greed index or the stochastic. So that's my entry method, but they have a lot of risk management tools in here that I've actually been employing in my own algorithms, which you guys are going to get access to in the near future here, because I've got some really cool stuff I've been developing, and I want you guys to have access to it while we're getting the stream off the ground. If you go and drop your TradingView username to get access to any of our scripts through the duration of getting this stream off the ground, it's going to be grandfathered in completely free, right? So I've spent hundreds, thousands of hours working on these algorithms, and I'm happy to talk shop and show you how they work, right? This one's really cool because it has like all these different signal filters and take profit and stop loss manager, right? So I don't even have take profit and stop loss enabled. I'm actually using a trailing take profit. So there's like tons of stuff you can do with it. If you guys are interested in automation of any variety, just let me know, because this is what we do around here, right? It's got really cool like DCA manager features, right? Where you can like dollar cost average your positions and things like that, depending on all kinds of different factors, right? But as you can see here, the one that I do have, excuse me, the one that I do have firing at the moment to this 150K account has done really, really well over the last, when did this thing start? This thing started back in June. Yeah, June 22nd is when this thing started. Profitable trades, 64.86%. That's not the best ever, but it has been very consistently making gains, especially when it goes through one of those periods where it martingales, right? So you can see over here, if I raise this up a little, you can see over here, it had an equity drawdown of 1,300, but then it martingaled and had that massive trade the other day. Of the last trade it had, it was 2,300. So unfortunately didn't catch it on this account, but I've adjusted things to where now this account should catch it, and I'm not having any misfires on this strategy particularly. So very cool stuff. Again, this strategy is on the 9-minute chart. So each trade's going to last about at least 9 minutes, right? It could last multiple candles, but we also have like a hard stop here that I've put in. I actually might disable that because I'm not really crazy about the hard stop where it is at the moment. Still working that out as well. So let me just go over here. Let's see. I'm in Traders Post. As you can see over here, we have a discount link to Traders Post down below. But basically what we do is we send the signal from TradingView to Traders Post. We process the signal in Traders Post, and then we send that signal to our brokerage, which in this case is Tradevate. So you can see here I have a hard stop of 0.2%. I'm actually going to bump that up to 0.25% because I just don't want to limit it if it does, oftentimes you'll have a solid like pump or dump in the opposite direction of your signal. And if you have a hard stop there, it's good because you'll get, you have a much safer exit because of your hard stop. Like you're not just relying on the signal. But in this case, it's a little close to this for my comfort because we could still have, a downward move if, if it decides to like move to the downside here in the next minute and a half. I just don't want to limit it by like having it get stopped out, prematurely. So I moved that stop loss up. The next one will be a little bit higher, probably up here. I also don't want to have too much loss, right? Like, and what I mean by that is if I come over here and we say, what is the largest losing trade? Largest losing trade is 0.16%. So yeah, I'm above that with the 0.2. So that's why I put it there originally. Now that I'm looking at it, 0.16 was the largest losing trade that this has had in the last since June, so about the last 6 months. So, you know, I probably could leave it at 0.2 just to be safe, but, you know, I'm just playing around with it. So I put it at 0.25 for now. Besides that, yeah, this thing, let's just look at it on like purely looking at the algo's performance. So this thing took a good while to program. And what I mean by that is I had spent several months since they released this just going through and trying to find the best possible outcome on several different assets. The asset that I found the best outcome on so far is NQ. But if anybody is interested, you know, I can drop these, the metrics here, right? Like I can drop the exact metrics that I got to produce this result. Okay, so we had an unsuccessful trade today, which was a loss of 562. So this thing's not going to trade again. It had a loss of over 500. So tomorrow it's going to double up and we're going to be on stream when it does that. And it's going to go short, you know, or it's going to go shorter along with 2 contracts tomorrow. But this thing had its trade for the day, unsuccessful. Still above even on our 150K account. But overall, this thing has had a drawdown since it missed the amazing 8 contract trade because the signal didn't go through on the first version that I had over here. So now I have it on this second version. Hopefully we won't miss any more trades. Really wish I could have hit that $2,300 play. That would have done really well for the account overall and just, you know, it would have been great. But you can't, with algorithms, you have to make sure that it works because let's say it fires a buy signal but not a sell signal. That's not good. What happened is it didn't fire a buy signal on this one and it only fired a sell signal. So that's not good either, right? It didn't fire this buy signal, it only fired this flat signal. So overall, not what we were looking for, right? We want it to be very consistent, and that's why I have multiple different versions being made, is because, you know, I've noticed with this particular algorithm, it doesn't fire correctly all of the time, right? But I think that has something to do with the script internally. And, you know, I have a version right now, this version number 2 fires every time and it hasn't had a misfire, right? So that's kind of where I'm migrating everything to, is this second version. This third version over here, definitely in the works still as well. But you can see this third version the other day had a loss on this 8 contract trade. So at some point, you know, I don't want this thing to keep martingaling forever because that won't be good. So this one's still in development. Now, the other version I have here on the Renko candles, this one has been doing really well. So this is based off of Renko candles. And on the 26th, on Friday, it had, this one trades New York session as well, but this one on the 26th on Friday had an unsuccessful trade followed by a successful trade. And what I really like about this one is if I bump it back up here, this one has a really low max equity drawdown. So it basically will cut its losses almost immediately. And really what I'm looking for is just a couple of bars on each one. And you can see like a trade like this, that would have been like a multi, you know, couple $1,000 trade probably. Let's see, what was that? Tuesday. Yeah, that was probably like a $700 trade right here. Same thing right here. So yeah, this one's been working really well. And again, it only trades like once or twice a day. So if anybody's interested, I will happily share all of these configuration metrics with you as well. All right, that's our trade for futures. Let's go back over to our crypto stuff here. We'll just finish up real quick. TRX, looking for this breakout move at some point. PAX G, boom. This thing is on fire. We already took 50% of our trade off the table at our first target here. So it basically went straight to our first target. Now we're about halfway to our second target. Second target being 47.35, third target being 49.37, and fourth target being all the way up at 54.44. So we've already taken 50% of our trade off the table. No matter what, even if this thing comes all the way back down to stop loss, Risk to reward ratio 2.35 to 1. We will make money no matter what on this play. If we get up to target number 2, we're going to move our stop loss to break even on this technical analysis play, right? And then everything else after that is a bonus. So at the moment, loving this trade. It's been executed absolutely perfectly. And yeah, it's looking really good. Let's move on to our Mag 7 here. Let's start with Google. Oh, actually, just to point out, now that I've edited the PAX-G algorithm long-term, I have it taken 10% off the table of my long-term accumulation because I've been accumulating for a very long time. I didn't sell at all of these points down here, but I did allow it to start selling at these points up here. So just to point out, this algorithm, which you can have access to as long as you drop your TradingView username into our Discord support, has had 100% successful trades, right? 947 out of 947 finished trades have been successful. So if you want access to a 100% successful long-term gold algorithm, really this thing's like mid-term at the moment because it's playing, even short-term, it's playing every couple of months it's taking profit at this point. But yeah, if you want access to this, drop your TradingView username in our Discord support, and I will make sure that you get access to this. All right, let's look at Google. Google, we've been speculating that there's going to be a downside move at some point. We have not seen a firm breakout. So really what I'm looking at here is we're continuing in this channel until proven otherwise. And I could probably scooch our targets, our breakout zone up a little bit now that we've seen kind of what's been transpiring here on Google. But at some point, I am expecting some kind of downward move out of Google. And whether I'm going to play this with like short shares or selling some of my Google position, whenever I see a strong enough conviction of a move and I'm going to play this, I will be letting you know live on stream here. Also, our algorithm has been doing really, really well through these, swing type of moves right here. We're looking at the daily chart. So let me just stylize this a little bit. We'll turn our signal labels off, quantity off. There we go, so that we can see a little bit better. Okay, so this thing, 90% profitable. 81 out of the 90 trades depicted on this chart have been successful. So this one's been going since December of 2024. So you can see it's had really great success on this longer term time frame. Now if I zoom in a bit and go back to the 10-minute chart, which is where our other algo is designed, you can see this works really well on the 10-minute chart. But let me just pop on our, there we go. There's our swing algorithm. Our swing algorithm did send a buy signal. So we moved, I know there's a lot going on here, but we moved back from bearish control, this bearish control zone right here, into bullish control. So we have entered another move. Let me just get rid of this so we can see here. I'll get rid of this guy too. So if we do come back in this bullish control zone and we hit this, thin brown line right here, that's going to add another entry, right? So we have our main entry on the algo side at this like 315, 314 level. And then we're going to have another entry back down at this 302 level. So depending on if Google breaks out of this channel anytime soon, right, we might have to play this a slightly different way, right? Because here we're going to have another entry, and if it goes into a bearish control, we might have another entry upon bullish control, but we're just going to have to see what happens. Overall, I am, somewhat let's say somewhat conflicted on Google because we are firmly in this ascending channel, and I do expect to break out of this ascending channel at some point, but our accumulation algorithm did start accumulating again, right? The last swing move we had was back in November where we had 4 separate entries, right? You can see it came and touched this brown line right here. We had another entry and then it touched it again. We had another entry, and then upon reversal, we had another entry. So played it off of this level all the way up to the top of the ascending channel. And we did something similar before that, right? Played it off of this level up to the heart line, and that's what the algo has been doing for the last, few runs here, is playing it off of these, this ascending channel type of move. You can see over here where the ascending channel actually started. We had several months of accumulation going into that, and then played, an exit here. And it's just kind of been playing these little moves up through this ascending channel. And again, I am expecting at some point it's going to break to the downside. We just don't really know when that is, and we're just going to have to keep an eye on it. Let's go ahead and talk about Tesla upon the next day's open, and kind of just been waiting for this position to come back and touch target number 1, or come back for like a solid retest. Gaps like to get filled, so I am expecting, now that we're in a bit of a downward swing, we'll probably come fill this gap and look for maybe another entry somewhere around where this descending trend line is on this descending broadening formation. Now remember, I've been talking about, we've been playing this since back in August as well. So back in August, we had this jump the creek breakout and retest. So you can see this nice retest that happened right here. And then we've been pushing to the upside ever since. We took 50% of our trade off the table at target number 1, moved our stop loss to break even at target number 2, and we've just kind of been waiting on target number 3 over here. But it also formed another bullish pattern, a descending broadening formation, which we entered on a completely different technical analysis play, and we've just been waiting for target number 1 to get hit. The risk to reward on this one is 2.62 to 1, so if we do hit target number 1 and come back down to stop loss, we will be making money on this play either way, but we really just need to see this thing either come all the way up to target number 1, or if we come back down and retest this trend line, I will be looking for a second entry on this one. So at the moment, if we hit target 1 and 2 on this play, it'll also finish out the previous play. So we just want to see some more bullish action on Tesla overall in the next couple months here. Let's look at Meta. So I don't have the algo on at the moment, and Meta's kind of been floating out of this cup and handle kind of thing we got going on here. I don't know how much longer I'm going to let it float and keep extending this handle out, but I guess until we break below this handle with some conviction, kind of just waiting on this play to possibly come to fruition, but have not entered this play yet. What I really need to see here is I need to see us break above this 672 level, and we need to have a daily candle close above 672 in order for me to enter this cup and handle style of play. Now what you'll also notice is another descending broadening formation. So this cup and handle, I'm kind of expecting to have a breakout move here, which has 3 targets of its own. But then when we come back to this descending broadening formation, if we have a solid breakout with a daily candle close here, I'll be entering another play. So this is kind of a 2-play situation if we do get some continuation to the upside. So cup and handle, descending broadening formation. Cup and handle has its own targets. Descending broadening formation will have its own targets, but we just got to play it one move at a time here. Amazon, boom, baby, breakout. Okay, so Amazon already had a breakout with a daily candle close. I talked about this on the last stream like a week ago. We entered this play already, and basically what we're looking for here is we have a risk to reward of 2.79 to 1. So we need to come touch target number 1, where we'll take 50% of our trade off the table. If that happens, we'll make money no matter what on this play. But overall, this is a perfect descending broadening formation breakout. And again, I was screaming at the moon the other day on stream because we've entered this play. Amazon has targets all the way up to 273, which would put us, actually target number 3 at 260 would put us at new all-time highs. But 273 is our top target. We have 4 targets measured out on this play. If we do come back down to test this trend line, or come back down to this even point, I might be looking to take an ad on this play, but I'm very, very happy with where this is at the moment. And I don't Not necessarily expecting it to come back and test the trend line fully, but if it does test the entry area, I will be taking a secondary entry on this one. It's just so low risk and it looks so good. It's a great play. So far it's going exactly as expected. You're going to hear me talk about descending broadening formations a lot on this channel. Absolute favorite pattern to play, and it works out a lot of the time. Apple. So we have been talking about on Apple about this ascending channel that had a breakout and a retest. So you can see we had our breakout back on the 17th of December. We had our retest on the 19th of December. And then we've put in a bit of a higher high here. So yeah, I took some short shares on Apple. I was kind of debating, do I sell some of my long portfolio? Do I take out some short shares and kind of hedge against my long portfolio? I decided to take out some short shares on Charles Schwab and basically like hedge against my long-term position. So at the moment, I have targets down over at 263 and then 252, or I'm sorry, 250. Yep, 263 and then 250. I'm really not expecting it to go all the way back down to this third target. I will be very happy if it gets to target number 1, because then that'll mean no matter what on this play, with a risk to reward of 1.9 to 1, I will have made a successful hedge move on this if we get to target number 1 here. So honestly, all I really want is target number 1 out of this. Target number 2 would be great, because then I would move my stop to break even on that short play. But other than that, expecting some kind of downside out of Apple, even though it's had this absolutely massive run. And we can look at this previous play. Would you look at that descending broadening formation? And this is exactly what I'm talking about. We had that nice breakout with a daily candle close. We came back and retested. You can see down here, we retested our entry point. So I doubled up on this, right? Entry, re-entry, a secondary entry. And then we went straight up to target number 1, floated on up to target number 2, and then floated on up to target number 3. Absolutely magical. This was perfect. Technical analysis respected all the way. Love it, right? Now we're looking at this ascending channel, and we are seeing technical analysis being respected right now. If we get to target number 1, that'll make me super happy about this play. I don't really play, I mean, what's the saying? Stocks go up, right? I don't play a whole lot of short moves on the spot side. You know, I'm not really an options guy like my partner, who we'll have on here again. We could talk about options, but for me, it's more of just a hedge to the downside at the moment, right? So overall, Apple's looking okay. Let's go ahead and look at Microsoft. This is Microsoft on the hourly. So at the moment, let me just go ahead and turn off the algo here. We'll talk about it on a purely technical basis. So we had a breakout and a daily candle close. So we have entered this trade, right? Since we entered, it's basically been flat and sideways, but still low risk entry. I'm really happy with where this play is right now. This is what's happening across a lot of different assets. We have these descending type of channels, right? And then we have our firm breakout, right? You can see right here, very, very firm, nice upside breakout move, right? And we entered this trade. Now all we're looking for, with risk to reward of 2.73 to 1, we want to get to target number 1 up at this 507 level. Target number 2, where we'll move stop loss to break even, is at 526. And then target number 3 all the way up to 560, which would put us back at our most recent all-time high levels. So besides that, let's go ahead and look at the algo here. The algo has been 80% profitable since 2019. So, you know, this thing, I use it for a number of different things. I use it for accumulation based, where I'll just buy shares when the signal comes through. I use it as areas of interest as far as like selling areas go. I don't take the sell signals on this one just based off of the algorithm, but I have them on to determine where a good level of profit taking might occur, right? So you can see it's pretty good at getting these peaks here, right? So anytime it sends a sell signal, I'm very vigilant of like, hey, we might be kind of topping out. And especially over here where it sent sell signals, and then we had a double top kind of tweezer top kind of thing going on. And, you know, I was just like, okay, well, if we're double topping, tweezer topping, this might be a good area to do some profit taking. So I did take a little bit off the table at this one. But you can use these however you see fit. So if you want to just follow the algo the way that it sends signals, you can do that. If you want to use it just for buying or just for selling, you can do that too, right? And these are not set in stone. Each one of these has its own custom configuration. So if you want access to these custom configurations, just go ahead and drop your TradingView username into our Discord support, and I will make sure you get access to all of this for free. We have a lot of other paid products as well, which I'll get to, but you know, all of this stuff that I'm showing you, I am giving away 100% for free. This is thousands and thousands of hours worth of work gone into these things, and I want you to have it. So we are building the largest and most successful algorithmic trading community on the internet, and it's all up to you guys. If you love automation and risk management the way that I do, these are going to come in very, very handy for you, okay? So absolutely free. Just drop your TradingView username, and I'll make sure you get access. Now, NVIDIA. Oh, baby, NVIDIA. So we had, if we're looking at the daily chart here, a solid daily candle close above our descending trend line, right? You can see here, let me get this out of the way here. Let me turn the algo off. There. So descending channel is what we've been looking at since October, right? So we've had our descending channel. We had a solid daily candle close breakout. We entered this trade, and you can see we have not come back for a retest. That's what I was talking about a bit earlier, is I have not been waiting for the retests on these because I've just been noticing there's a trend going on market-wide that these things are not coming back for the retest as, I don't want to say normal, but like what you might expect from a descending channel breakout, right? So we entered this trade at the open of the, what was that? The 22nd, right? So we got in a little bit higher than what I have measured here, but that's okay because our risk to reward is 2.96 to 1. So no matter what, if we hit target number 1 and come all the way back down to our stop loss, we'll still be making money on this play. What I would like to see is maybe we stop the bullish momentum, come back down to our open, and then I'll be entering again if we do get that come back down to our open like we were looking at on Apple over here, where we broke out and then came back down to our open, and that was our spring, right? So if we get something like that on NVIDIA, I will be very, very interested in entering this play again. But in order for that to happen, we would need to do that before we get to target number 1. Because if we get to target number 1, I'm taking 50% of the trade off of the table and moving, you know, waiting for target number 2 to move the stop loss up. So if we get to target number 1, I will not be doing a re-entry. But if we do come back down to our entry point before target 1, I will be looking for a secondary entry on this. All right, NVIDIA. And last but not least, Walmart. It's just a really good, easy to follow algorithm, right? Walmart's only $100 a share, so I pretty much follow this thing exactly as you're looking at it here. 86% profitable. It has a 10-to-1 drawdown to total P&L. And yeah, I just kind of let this thing go in my portfolio, and it accumulates, and then exits when there's, you know, some solid upward push in the market. You can see accumulates, exit. It gets these tips, these tops pretty accurately. So yeah, again, if you want access to any of this stuff, we have a community algo configuration document available when you drop your TradingView username into our Discord support. So again, we are building the largest and most successful algorithmic trading community on the internet, and I want all of you to be a part of it. So thank you for joining me here so far. Let's go ahead and look at a new algorithm that I've been making the last few days here. So now what we're looking at here is I have several different versions of our gold algorithm going through now. So you can see basically how this one works is this is an moving average band strategy. So Friday was pretty rough. Friday did not have a good day. But overall, this strategy, if it breaks out of one side of the band, so in this case, we are below this this lower band. So in 4 minutes, this is on the 5-minute chart. In 4 minutes, it's going to send a sell signal here. That already occurred on our 3 minute. So I have several different versions. Like, you know, this one's on the 5 minute. This one has 1,800 drawdown to 1,400 gain. And then this one has 1,100 drawdown to 10,500 gain. And then I just made these over the weekend, which are going to a couple of my other accounts. So right now, if I'm looking at, let's just see here. Yeah, so I have a couple of these MGC strategies going to like 25K accounts on Apex and things like that. So at the moment, yeah, this one just entered a trade. This one had 930 drawdown to 7,000 gain on the 3-minute chart. And then I have one that I'm not quite convinced about just yet on the 1-minute chart. So yeah, just focusing on a few of these. Like you can see right here, it just entered another trade on this 2-minute chart. Or I'm sorry, on the 1-minute chart. And let's see here if we're going to get a... Yeah, so the 5-minute is a little tricky because if we, you know, like right now it's dumping. I would have wanted to see it enter a bit sooner. So that's why I started making it on the, you know, 3-minute chart and on the 1-minute chart here. Just want to see it react a little bit faster. But again, all of this is completely available 100% for free. And we are passing futures evaluations with these strategies. I want a giant group of people all getting eyes on these same sort of things and working on this together. So if you would heed the call, come join us because this is what we're doing. We're building profitable trading algorithms on all kinds of different time frames, from long-term to short-term to day trading, you name it. That's what we're going to do in this community. So if you're at all interested in that, join us. Join us. All right, well, that's about it for today. I did have a few, you know, just requests from the community about, you know, length of the episodes and things like that. And, you know, I'm going to keep these things about an hour. Today was a good example of how I want to run it. I want to talk about, you know, top assets, you know, the top 7 or 8 assets in the crypto space. I want to talk about the Mag 7, and I want to do a futures trade live on the stream here. So if there's any assets that you would like for me to review or things like that, I'm going to kind of save that for our customers and users to put in requests. And yeah, I'm just looking to get this thing off the ground right now. So if you have any feedback, criticism, whatever it is, just go ahead and tell us, right? We're not shy. We do this stuff every day. We want to help you guys, and we want you to help us. So this show is completely sponsored by us. So I wanted to touch a little bit while we're here just about, you know, who we are and what we're doing in the space. So Killer Whale, we have been top marketplace participants on Cryptohopper. Cryptohopper is the largest bot trading platform on the internet. So if you want automation tools for crypto bot trading that connect to all your major exchanges, you can find this, you know, our user profile link in the description below. We have all kinds of tools from, you know, swing trading algorithms to, oh, I guess I must have logged out of that. Swing trading algorithms to all kinds of stuff, right? You can find our links down below. Also sponsored by the Killer Whale Intelligence Platform, KWIP, where we have our conservative, moderate, and aggressive AIs that work for you all day long. They watch the market while you sleep. You can connect all of your different exchanges to your Killer Whale Intelligence platform and choose how you want to participate. Conservative AI trades the top 10 coins by market cap. Moderate AI trades the top 20 coins by market cap. And aggressive AI trades the top 30 coins by market cap. And you can go find our links down below. Go ahead and sign up completely for free, right? You can use all of our manual features, all the buying and selling manual features, as well as the portfolio monitoring features completely for free. It's free to sign up. And we have our discount running for the next 3 days. That's 50% off your first month when you use code CYBERMONDAY50. So again, 50% off your first month when you use code CYBERMONDAY50. If you have any questions about how our conservative, moderate, and aggressive AIs work, just go ahead and let us know in our Discord channel. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Have a fantastic rest of your year. See you tomorrow.